Hmm. All right. One sec here. Just waiting for the stream to go. Okay, cool. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Sentient Cloud. Now, I had a bit of an issue that made it so I really couldn't stream for like a couple days there, and got sick, and it was not fun. But I'm back now. Now, before I get into the game here, I do think that I want to play games on a more consistent basis on this channel, stream some more. Um, but I don't really know what people who watch this channel are interested in as far as gaming goes. And, I've got a decent amount of stuff that I could do gaming wise, but I don't want to, make videos or live streams that are just uninteresting for people, and I don't want to play games that are uninteresting to me. So, there's things that I could work on. Like, for example, I've been trying to get Skyrim working properly on my computer with Mod Organizer 2 and all that kind of stuff, and getting like a working mod pack together for that. And other games like New Vegas, FTL, all sorts of things that I could be playing. But yeah, so if this is something that you're interested in, let me know. If you're not, then yeah, let me know still. Like if you just don't want to see gaming at all, then that's also an option. As far as the code stuff goes, I do plan to release a video in the near future about Phaser, because it's at the point where I'm pretty confident that I could not touch it and it would work fine for whatever it is I'm working on. I guess with the exception of like library compilation, things like that. But yeah, and then as far as the game engine project is going, I've got some ideas that I'm kind of playing with right now, and I just kind of need to put my nose to the grindstone on that one. But yeah, so with all that said, let's get started. So if you've never played or heard of Cyberknights, then if you've heard of games like XCOM 2, it's similar to that. It's a little bit different. So let me go ahead. I'll hit continue here. Um, so if you don't know what it is, you basically oh, I guess I don't start in a base here. I'll have to show you guys later. I kind of started in the middle of a mission here. But that's okay. But you've got characters who you play in a squad as. It's got a similar aesthetic to what was it called? Is it Dragon Run? I think it's that. I don't remember what it's called now. It's got kind of like a similar aesthetic and things to that. Hold on. Oh, what's it called? Hold on. One sec here, because I know I've played it before. I just can't remember the name of it. Shadowrun. That's what it was. Shadowrun. Can't believe I forgot that. Anyway, it's got a similar sort of thing to Shadowrun, except I don't think Shadowrun has fully free movement. This one does. I'm just going to skip this. Hmm. Okay, cool. So, yeah, basically just trying to get through and figure out how to get to this place and then get out. So you do like heists, kind of on a repeated basis. They're like these little quest lines that are fairly small and self-contained, which I do think is a bit of a weakness. Yeah, yeah. I think actually, unless I'm mistaken, I think Cyber Knights runs uh, on. I think it might run natively on Linux if I'm not mistaken. Let's check Proton. Proton PB will be a good way to read that out quickly. Let's see. Yeah, so it's native. It runs natively on Linux, so no need for Proton or anything like that, as far as I can tell. All right, so let's get a move on. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and okay, go ahead and delay. One thing I do like about Cyber Knights particularly is they have a very mature kind of turn action system, so you can delay your turn basically. Yeah, sure. I have a decent amount of experience with gaming on Linux, so. Okay. So, yes, I can go there. It's not ideal because you don't get cover, but I think we'll be okay for the moment. Okay. Um. So, is your question why is there so much cache in RAM, or like is it a problem? Is that kind of what I'm my understanding correctly? What the question is? Like, is that 43 gigabytes of cache and RAM a problem, or how to fix it? Like, um, so to be clear, cache is not necessarily a problem. So, um, basically, hang on, let me just go and close that. Basically, cache is first of all, it's not just games that will cache stuff. So, let me actually. So the thing is, caching is first of all, it's not something that just happens with games. It happens with a lot of things. And basically, what it's there to do is to speed up the execution of projects when you have RAM that's freely available. So let's say you've got a computer and you've got 32 gigabytes of RAM, right? It's a fair bit for a given computer. Often people don't use that 32 gigabytes entirely, right? Maybe you've got a browser or two open, you've got a game playing. Let's say you use like 8 gigabytes of RAM right there. So you've used about actually, we'll double it. We'll say you've used 16 gigabytes, right, out of your 32 gigabytes of RAM that's available. The rest of the RAM, the computer could just say, okay, well, I'm not going to use that for anything. But that is leaving performance on the table because there are plenty of things that your computer does that requires it to access files, that requires it to store things temporarily and then use them again later. And so what cache is essentially rather than storing files and then having to repeatedly access those files because that's slower, a computer will use unused RAM to cache those resources. And so if, let's say, you've got a program that's like updating a log file, maybe that might not be a great example, but basically, like, it's instead of storing all of that in a file and repeatedly opening and closing that file in an SSD, it's faster for it to just work in memory rather than having to do that. And so caching is basically a way to speed that up typically without impacting the rest of your computer's performance. So generally speaking, if you're not noticing a problem with performance, it shouldn't be a problem generally. Now, it is technically possible for there to be a memory leak. And to be clear, it's not like a C memory leak, strictly speaking. It might be a C memory leak, but memory leaks can happen in any language. But it could possibly be a memory leak, but the way to tell if there is a memory leak would be get some kind of system monitor. So, for example, I use one that's called BTOP, but if you're on Fedora, I don't know what the kind of standard one for Fedora users is. But basically, you would open up your system monitor, or it'd be like the equivalent in Windows would be a task manager. And you look at the program. Well, and the thing is, so Proton is I think, largely written in C or C++. It's also very stable, so it's unlikely to be a memory leak. And if it were, it wouldn't show up in cache. Right, so this is kind of what I was getting at. If you're trying to figure out if a program is using too much memory, the way to check that more conclusively would be to open up a system monitor. It would basically be, again, the equivalent of Task Manager in Windows. You'd find whatever that is for your particular system. And then you would look at the Hitman Absolution runtime or the Proton runtime, the program that it's running, and see how much RAM it's using. And if it is using, 43 gigabytes, that would be kind of insane because, of course, Hitman runs on systems, I'm guessing, with like 8 to 16 gigabytes without issue typically. So if it were a memory leak, I would expect your system, and it reached the point where it was so much memory had leaked that it was basically using up all of your memory, then the program would crash, typically. So if it's not using up too much, then it would probably not, it probably wouldn't do that. And like I was saying before, cache isn't necessarily it's not stuff that your computer is using for programs, strictly speaking. It's not like, the amount of RAM that's being used by a given program. It's basically extra fast storage so that your computer doesn't have to wait for your file system to do stuff. Because the file system, on any computer, your file system is much slower than RAM. It's just how the physics It's just how the physics works. So it is faster to use RAM than to use the file system. And so computers will use excess RAM to make up for that and make it so your computer runs more smoothly. So the amount of cache that's being used is typically not an issue. And if it is, then the way to know if it's actually an issue is if you are noticing slowdowns, right? Like if you notice that your computer is behaving like there's a lot of kind of choppiness or slow frame rates for a lot of things, that's an indicator that you're using too much RAM. And then just specifically on Proton, Proton is actually a fairly lightweight application. It's really just translates between Windows specific calls. Well, it doesn't just do that, but one of the main things it does is it translates between Windows specific calls and ones that are compatible with Linux. So it's not very heavy, and like I run Proton applications on my computer all the time, and it doesn't normally cause any issues. So yeah, yeah, no problem. And yeah, like basically my kind of general takeaway I would say is if it's not actually causing like a visible issue as far as like how much cache you have, I wouldn't worry about it because your computer is going to cache as much as it can because otherwise it's basically just leaving memory. It's leaving resources that it could use to make the experience smoother and better. It's just kind of leaving those on the table. It would be like playing a game and everything's fine, but you're noticing that it is using actually no, because that can be an issue. Never mind. I was going to give an example, but that wouldn't work. Anyway, regardless, yeah, no problem. All right, let's get back here. So we've got, right, no more action points for you. Now, can't go there. One of the cool things about this game is very, very heavily stealth-based. Okay. So, that would be something to check the temperatures on then. If you're getting like really high temperatures, then that is a concern. And unfortunately, it's more difficult to tell if that's something where like the game itself is requires enough resources to justify that performance hit. Like if you've got a game that is just legitimately kind of heavy as far as resource usage, there's nothing you can really do to fix that. And in my experience, games on Proton tend to perform roughly equivalent to how they would have performed on Windows. Because the amount of resources, and actually in some cases they perform better because of some of how the translation works. Especially for older games, that tends to be the case. And I can explain that in a second, but just to finish my point about the whole resource usage thing, some games just require more resources than others. And so if you're noticing like, the CPU temperatures are higher than you would expect, that's probably an issue with the game and not an issue with Proton, in my experience. Proton's a pretty small application in comparison to a game. As far as like Proton speeding things up, basically, a lot of older games will use versions like of DirectX, which is the like visual rendering system that's used for Windows. There are various versions of DirectX, right? You've got stuff like I've got games that run DirectX 9, which is fairly old, all the way up to DirectX 12, and older DirectX versions are typically supported on Windows, but they aren't always supported very well. And so what Proton does in order to improve that yeah, it's not quite identical as far because Proton runs over the top of a compatibility layer known as Wine, and you'll see this a lot on Linux because Linux people are kind of quirky like this. But the reason they chose the name Wine is because it's the acronym Wine is not an emulator. It's called a recursive acronym. Basically, you look at the acronym and you try and figure out what each letter in the acronym is, and turns out that the acronym stores the acronym within itself. So you'll see those a lot. Like GNU is not Unix, which is there's a whole story attached to that. But the point being, Wine is not an emulator, so it doesn't work quite the same as QEMU or KVM. It translates between the different types of commands. So if I have a excuse me, if I have a DirectX command that says render this texture, render this texture in a game, that command has certain things that it does to the GPU, right? It tells the GPU to do X, Y, and Z. And so all you have to do in order to make an equivalent for Linux is you take the name of that command and you create a function that is the same name as the one on DirectX, and then you just have it so that that function does all the things that the one for DirectX would do, but on a Linux system. Or not exactly the same. It doesn't have to do exactly the same. It's going to have to give you the same effective results, though. And so the reason I say that older games can actually see a performance uplift on Proton is because there is a tool called DXVK, which converts DirectX DX to Vulkan or VK. And so it translates older commands meant for older GPUs with worse hardware to more modern commands that run on Vulkan for modern GPUs. And so you typically see a performance uplift when you switch from DirectX rendering for a very old version of DirectX to a more modern API that is better suited for modern GPUs. So. Okay, there. Go across here, and as you can see, it sort of reveals characters as you move forward, so you don't get to see everything everywhere. Crouch down. That's the other thing. This game, like I said, it focuses a lot on stealth, and so like you can kill enemies instead of like in XCOM 2. As soon as you fire, everybody's alerted. In this game, there's like the alert is based on like, oh, how loud is your weapon, and did the enemies find a body, things like that. So it's a lot better stealth gameplay, which makes it so the game kind of revolves around stealth as sort of like the main gameplay is very heavily stealth oriented. So I do not have a Discord. I tried doing that once, and I just kind of decided it really wasn't for me. It's just more effort to manage than it was really worth. But yeah, man, no problem. I mean, this kind of stuff is not really things that people worry about typically. Like on Windows, games just kind of work, and thankfully Linux is reaching the point where that is the case more so. But you'll often see things that you don't expect because Windows does things differently, and sometimes it's not a problem, other times it is a problem. So yeah, no problem at all to answer your question there. All right, let's move to the next one, and I might need to kill this guy who's okay. Oh geez. Okay. Huh. I might need to restart this whole turn, because I did not expect that. Okay. I'd really rather avoid having to kill two guys. Here's what I'll do. So, this guy can go over here. Okay. So I don't think I want to... Right there. Okay, that should work. So... Yeah, I do want to get at least one shot off on this guy, and then I'll leave the rest to Minotaur. So we'll do that. Oh, shoot. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and have you crouch, and then you can clean up the last of it. Alright. I think she could probably get that hit in. Jeez, that is really a low hit chance. What is it? Outside of optimal range. Okay. So he's closer. That's a shame. Okay. So it doesn't say if he'll hear it. Okay. Alright, so what we'll do, we'll move forward here. Because I want to make sure that we get at least a glancing hit. Just move over there. There we go. Alright, cool. So that's the turn. Alright. So this needs to be dealt with, and needs to disable that. So what I'll do here, so we'll yield the action. I was going to mention this. One of the things I do like about this game is there's a very detailed set of action controls. So, like, which person is going to go when in the initiative order. So you can do things like you can yield an action, which basically just reduces your action, what do you call it? Initiative, excuse me. It reduces your initiative by 1, which means, or not 1, but 1 minus whatever the next allied character is. So you can also just delay it by like 10, so you can move around fairly effectively within the initiative order, which is pretty helpful. Okay. So let's see. What do I want to do here? I mean, I've got the time to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and handle the body the kind of the slow way. So one of the things you really do have to be watchful for is bodies. If an enemy spots a body, then you're generally in trouble. So let's see. I think find a spot here. One of the things that this game you got to kind of watch for in this game, because all the movement is free, so you don't have to move to like a square. It's not on a grid. There's a lot more control you have over like where you are and your distances, which is nice. But then, of course, that means you have to be a lot more careful about where you move. So if you've ever played games like Divinity Original Sin 2, sort of similar in that regard, except for you know, there's a cover system here which you don't really have in Divinity Original Sin. So, not strictly cover anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and okay, I can't do that. Let's go ahead. We'll move up, and I think I can reach the. Can I not reach the pressure sensor? Oh, I can go there. Okay, we'll do that. Crouch down, and then we'll disable this. I will have to keep an eye on this camera, though, because it's going to turn on at the end of next turn, so that's something I gotta watch for. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and save, or delay my action, since I've got some action points left. And let's move you up one. Or up a bit here. Or actually, let's wait. We'll wait for this Tau guy to move, because I don't want to risk getting detected if I can help it. Just go ahead and delay that. Okay, so he's standing around. And this guy, is he within visual range? He is. Okay, so I can't kill him. Right, if I kill him, then everybody will know. So there's no way I'm going to be able to kill this guy too in the same time frame, because he's too far. And, yeah, okay. So what I could do, though, is I could move up. That's probably not a great idea, though, because he's right there. Okay, so what I'll do... Don't think... Yeah, I can't move up there without him hearing me. How much damage does that do? 137 kinetic. That guy is going to reduce that by, like, 33%, so... That's about a third, so we're looking at roughly 80-something kinetic damage, plus this. Okay, so he would not die from that. So I'm going to have to level this up at some point, because this I've never really been able to use this much, and it seems like a pretty useful tool. I suppose I could have a Venom Trap and then a detonation. The enemies, 3-meter radius. They're poisoned. And they detonate. Huh. It's a neat idea. I don't know if I necessarily want to do that, though. I can move up there. So just go down like that. Don't really have anything else I want to do here. I don't have anything else I want to do. We're going to go ahead and do this. So, just make sure I've got this in the right spot. And that's only enemies. Yep. So if an enemy runs into this, then you're going to get a nasty surprise. Nice. Gamma's moving, so that's fine. Good to go. Okay, just gonna have her go and reload. It's just sitting here. Minotaur needs to move up. Just have you sit right here. There's really nothing else to do, because I don't want to destroy the body. Right, because otherwise I'll lose the this little trap I've got. Okay, I'll just disable the body timer. So now nobody will suspect that. I could leave it on. One thing I haven't really played with much is sort of leaving body timers on so that enemies will search out bodies, but when I've got a clock, because this doesn't always say +1, sometimes it's +2, sometimes it's +0. Um, if I've got a clock already, I don't necessarily want to risk that. Okay. All right, we're going to go and move there. As far as I can move, and it's behind cover. There we go. All right. Okay, let's go and we'll delay the turn. So we want to make sure that people are moving. Okay, he's gone. It's just turning. Okay. Now, question is, okay, could use this. Yeah, because this one's got a lot of armor on, so I don't want to risk this one surviving. Nice. Oh shoot, actually, hold up, how much? Okay, I didn't have to do that. But, okay, well. Shoot. Hold on. It's pressure sensor. So biomimic's not going to do anything against that. So yeah, this is, that's unfortunate. Okay. Well, we're gonna go anyway. Should have just not shot again. I didn't actually intend to. It just did it because this game, you know, for better or for worse, it has a feature that basically makes it so that if you use an action once, like attack actions, this is especially helpful with. You attack once, so you've selected a target. If you just kind of press on that, click on that target again, it will just automatically shoot. Which, you know, on the one hand, definitely does improve the like just the kind of ease of play, but you will occasionally accidentally do something you wouldn't necessarily intend to do if you're not careful. Okay. So we'll just let you stay there. You're crouched, so you're good to go. Time to hunt. So he might actually run into this, and then he is going to get a nasty surprise. Okay. So let me just... Let's see. Okay, so Ome is there. Doesn't have much armor. This guy does, because he's the same type of... There's that. Okay. So, I'm going to do this. Okay, I just want to be right there. I'm just going to use that one more time. So that's delayed. Okay. Alright. I don't really have anything else for her to do. And one nice thing is that every action that you... excuse me, every action point that you don't use ends up adding to your initiative next turn. So, like, if you don't use 5 action points, it will increase your initiative by 5, I think. That's how it typically works. So, that's nice. Okay. Okay. There's a lot of things that I could disable here. Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave all those for the moment, and we'll just go ahead and move on. I should switch to my suppressed pistol. Typically, I like to have one suppressed and one unsuppressed, because suppressors do reduce damage in this game, so don't necessarily want to use them all the time. Okay, let's go up here. That's okay, so I can use that for one and then move into cover. Okay, so we'll go here. Use Ash Protocol, which destroys dead bodies, so we're good. Okay, that's the turn. Nice. All right. So, don't really want to risk that just yet. If I get through there, I don't. It's gonna be close. So if I go there, so I can't go there. Hold on. Let's go to right there. And then before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and figure out where this guy is going. Okay, so he's going away. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alright, so we'll just go move here, I think. There at the edge. Go there. Okay, let's see. Who we got where? Okay. Disable the prox mine. Oops. Okay. So, that'll get me there. And just let's do that. Just delay the turn again. Okay, so he's not going to go there. So that's somewhat unfortunate, but it is what it is. Okay, this guy needs to get in here fast. That's going to be disabled for quite some time now, so I don't think I need to worry about that. But I do kind of worry about... Can I get... I can. Okay. Okay, I think we're good there, so we'll do that. I want to make sure that he is out of this kind of area, because people will see him. He's not somewhat careful. And you can disable this camera. So you shall. Can I get you? I really want to put her there. There's no... No, I don't want to risk putting her there. So what I'll do... So we should be good as far as hearing goes right there. We'll put you there. Okay, cool. So that needs to be disabled. I could have waited another turn for that, but it's not a huge issue. Okay. You're full up on everything, so there's nothing really to do yet. And this is disabled for now, so I'm not going to worry about it exploding on me. Same here. Alright, so he is unaware of... Okay, so I could move here. I think I want to wait. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go and save here so that I don't lose progress, because I think this is going to be one of those points where it's a bit of an inflection point. Okay, so I think if I get here, for standing, I can stand and not trigger there. Okay, so I can't go there, I don't think. Can I? Let's stand real quick. So he's gonna see me, he's gonna hear me, so I can't do that. I could move there. And that would give me some pretty decent cover. I don't think he can see... Can he see me? If I'm crouching, I don't think he can, because this will be blocking his view. Okay, we'll do that. I'm not going to disable this yet, because I'm going to have to wait until people move. Alright, he's heading back. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. Whew. It's very close. He's moving. He's just standing around. Okay. We still have a good visual of what he's going to be doing. If you mouse over, if you've used like anticipation or other stuff, it will show their predicted path when you mouse over them. That's assuming they don't get alerted to something, in which case they'll just go directly and do that. So, okay. So I want to. Can I don't think I can. Stand. Yeah, I'll be heard. Okay. So let's just go here real quick. Okay, so go there. Pick this up. So you always, if you can, you want to grab these lock boxes, and it's something that's shown in the tutorial, so that should be obvious. But I occasionally miss them, like weird ones that are only visible from a certain perspective, so it's always good to check and make sure. Okay, so I'm just going to go here, because I think that's out of range of most of the enemies, and a little bit of cover. Just delay the turn. There we go. Okay. Should have Minotaur do. He's gonna hear us. One thing that would be nice to have is like some way to visualize the radius which they can hear because like you get an idea of the distance between you and that character. It's like it shows here, that number just below the health bar, the 9.5 meters. That's your distance. The shield is obviously the armor, how much they'll resist whatever shot you fire, and then the little crosshairs with the percentage is your hit chance from there. And I wish there was like a visual indicator, because there's a visual indicator for the sight range. Like, you know, you've got like this little radius here. But there's nothing for hearing range, and I wish that was the case, that it did show that. But it doesn't. Okay, so we'll move here. And I think I'll just go like that. Now, should be fine. Yep, he's just guarding stuff, so he's not... Oh, shoot. Okay. So you can't move at all, can you? Alright, hang on. Let's see what we got. There's really nothing I can do here. I suppose I could use Poet to distract him further, but I don't really want to do that, because otherwise that's gonna... Okay, that's weird. It usually just straight up alerts them. Okay. Well, I guess we're alright then. I'm just gonna go over here. Crouch down, and wait our turn. Okay. No action. No action. Okay. So, just need to get in, spike the CPU, and we're good. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to use this lure ability on him. Otherwise, Grok is not gonna be able to get into the... Okay. Alright. Oh, wait, hold up. Wait. Okay. So even if I'm crouching... So what is it that's blocking his... Oh, it's this. Right there. So if I'm over here, he can't see. Fascinating. Okay. Okay, so let's do this then. What'll do... Get close enough to get there. lure him down. I don't want to lure the other guy if I can possibly help it. Because that would make 2 alert enemies. Though I suppose having them be alert isn't like the end of the world. I don't know, I guess it depends on how much they move around. No, because I don't want him, because he's still got his turn to do, I think. Yeah, he's still in the turn order. If I can possibly help it, I don't want to move him until he's already done his move, because it gives you like an extra turn's worth of distraction. So here's what I'm gonna do. Do this right here. There we go. All right, so he's turned away. Perfect. Just delay our turn and good to go. Okay. Minotaur, you can... Let's see, do I want it here? I think I might. Gets her a little further away from everything. So let's do that. Yeah, he's still suspicious. Okay. Do I know where he's planning to go? Okay. Yeah, so he's gonna hear me, so I can't do that. Okay, well. Just gonna go here and connect. You never know, maybe we'll be able to just get straight into it. Okay. And let's go ahead and run overclock. Connect. I don't think I need to worry about the security tally because I'm going to just be going straight through this. Really don't want to destroy this because that's going to give us so much extra yeah, we'll just turn it all off. So, alright. Program loading. Okay, disable that. Scan. And disable that. Okay. So that's the... Man. I don't have enough AP to do anything substantial, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back up here, because this has already been hacked. Turn on hard shell. And that should be it. So, just end the turn there. You don't want to end your turn on these little guys, because they'll just remove you from the matrix. So, go there. Okay, we're good. We're good. That was close. Just don't move. Okay. So, let's do this. So, delay. You, my friend, can shoot at him since you're here. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Crap. Hmm. Might need to quit the turn or restart the turn because that I should have known. How is he able to hear that? Suppressor doesn't work nearly as well as it should. Okay. Well, all right. I'm going to go ahead and it's already about an hour here, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you want to leave a comment letting me know like what sort of games you might like to see. Like I said, I've got Skyrim. I just need to, buckle down and actually try and make a mod list for it. Like I've got FTL, Factorio, lots of different mods or lots of different games that are kind of more slower paced. I don't have as many fast paced games. I do have Stalker Gamma, so that might also be interesting. I don't know if my computer can run that and do a stream as well though. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway,